Lost on Lost Season 2, baby!
Hell yeah!
We've watched Seasons 1, 2, and 3 of Lost, and we've learned a lot.
Did we?
And we've learned to love Jack, Kate, Sawyer, Boone, and Claire.
Did we?
But now it's time for Seasons 4, 5, and 6.
That's right, we're still going to talk about the mysteries and mythologies of the island.
And obviously hot tropical hookups.
But now we're going to talk about things like the freighter,
The Others,
Charles Widmore,
The Lighthouse,
time travel,
9/11,
Ronald Reagan,
the Catholic Church,
Titus,
Gold Chains,
the military-industrial complex,
the Prison Industrial Complex,
the Void,
The Orb,
and so much more.
So strap on and strap down, because if you thought last season was confusing,
This is going to be so much worse. Or better if you like being lost on Lost. Strap on?
you heard me.
Ooh, welcome everybody to Lost on Lost. Hey, I'm JP Russell, and I'm joined as always by a man who's always tugging his rope, Adam Busher.
That's me. What's always? Because I was told that once a day is good for my prostate health.
What about 12 times a day?
It's 12 times as healthy, I imagine.
I'm gonna live forever. Adam, we have a guest.
Excellent.
Welcome back to the show, all the way from season 1 of the podcast. I don't even have the episode up, which one it was, but we're gonna
Tabula
figure that
rasa.
out here.
How could you forget?
Tabula rasa.
How could you forget the,
That's right.
the
We get our-
salsa bit?
The guy who gets his salsa from New York City and or the island. We've got Brian Markovich. Welcome back, Brian.
Hey, thanks for having me. Appreciate it. It's good to be back.
Yeah.
It's been a
Is
long pause.
Well, you know, we're just out here trying to get this pause pregnant. So,
Man, dusting off all the old bits today.
Brian, well, first of all, thanks for coming back to the show and dealing with a random season 5 episode of Lost, which I'm sure has been over a decade since you've seen.
Yeah, it's actually been wild. So, like you mentioned, Tabula Rasa was like the first episode that I did with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
That's the third episode, right? So, like,
Yeah.
you don't have to remember much. You can just go into it. And this one was like well in the weeds and many years since I've seen it.
Yeah.
So I was like, it was like this weird drunken, like blackout recall going on where I'm like, I think that happened. Wait, who is that person?
Yeah, that is how most of our guests describe being on this show, like a weird, tired blackout.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't worry, it's not a bug, it's a feature.
Oh, great. Well then, mission accomplished.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah. Brian, what have you been
Yeah.
watching since Tabula Rasa?
My life right now is Severance.
Yeah, that makes
Severance,
sense.
All things Severance right now, which is great. Season 2 Severance. I'm all in on it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm reading the books that are associated with it. I'm listening to the podcast.
Wow, nice.
I'm theory crafting on the Reddits.
Ooh.
I've severed myself.
Oh, shit.
I've had to reintegrate, which is a spoiler for anyone.
Oh, God, no.
I went to try and legally download what has been aired of season 2 last night, and turns out I downloaded Succession and not Severance.
So you're watching that now?
Yeah, apparently. Do you guys want to talk about Lost?
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Let's do it. Adam, what are we talking about today?
Today we are talking about season 5, episode 8, LaFleur.
LaFleur.
LaFleur is the 94th episode of the show overall. It originally aired on March 4th, 2009. It was written by Elizabeth Sarnoff and Kyle Pennington and directed by Mark Goldman. LaFleur covers day 1
Sure.
1 of the time period in which we are following the perfect emergency landing of Ajira Flight 316. JP,
Yeah,
do you have a recap?
sure.
Alrighty, well, let's have it.
All right, the way I see it, you only got 2 options. 1, you can leave on a submarine. Or 2, you can stay and have my back. Shots. On the island, we're jumping around time like Michigan J. Frog. Sawyer, Juliette, Miles, Jin, and Faraday must anchor themselves in the timeline to stop their nose from bleeding and their tummies from aching. We find our heroes in 1974, well, but also 1977, but Also, technically 1867 or earlier. Whatever. Say Jughead again. Say Jughead again. I dare you. I fucking double dog dare you. Speaking of insane names, Sawyer gives himself yet another name. The etymology of the name LaFleur means the flower, but here on Lost, it means fake-ass beard that looks like it's made out of pubes. Hey, remember that great joke about backshots? That's because Sawyer and Juliette end up fucking. Let's also get into LaFleur here on Lost.
Nicely done.
Yeah, that was great. I did hear one inaccuracy.
Oh, just,
What?
yeah.
The LaFleur definition.
Mm-hmm.
I actually threw it into ChatGPT, and it actually said in Spanish it means the floor.
Oh,
Which
yeah,
is
yeah,
a surface that is commonly traveled with foot traffic,
yeah, yeah,
the lowest level of a building.
yeah, yeah.
I hate to give you notes, but I had to call you on that one. I'm sorry.
Now, you know what? Now the episode makes sense. Now everything's been clear. Hey, Brian, thanks for. Hey, we're going to wrap this up here, folks. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Lost on Lost. I'm JP.
LaFleur opens in the jungle. James, Jin, Juliet, Miles are
Tugging a
pulling
rope.
rope that just goes in the dirt.
Hey, I'm Lost on Lost. I don't know what that's all about.
I didn't get a skip recap button, so I had to manually skip the recap. So I caught the last few seconds of the recap, and I understand what is happening with the rope tugging.
Once there was no skip recap, I just put it on mute and started screaming the theme to Mr. Belvedere, and then Kai told me when to look.
Yeah.
So that's why we're getting married.
Yeah. But yeah, like if you manage to accurately skip the recap, yeah, Sawyer's just like pulling on a rope that goes into the dirt, and Juliet's like, "Stop!
So what are you gonna do?
You're freaking out!
Okay.
Knock it off!"
Yeah.
This was the first scene I've seen of Lost in years, right?
Yeah.
And I have no reference, and I just see him holding that rope up. Just for a second, I'm like, was there some kind of Atlas scenario where he's holding up the island that I don't remember here?
It's the anti-Sisyphus.
Yeah.
It's, instead of pushing a boulder up, he's pulling a rope down.
And then them telling him to let go of the rope was he's going to end it all for them.
Oh, yeah.
It was super deep, and then it ended up not being a big deal.
Yeah. They're not sure where they are in time. This is the phase of Lost in which they're still skipping around time, like a needle skipping on a record. It dawns on them that they don't know this. We, the audience, know that this must be prior to 1867 because the statue has not been destroyed. It is still intact.
Yeah.
And we all know that the statue was destroyed in 1867 by a freak hurricane throwing the black rock through it.
Yes.
We all know that.
Oh, that's like there's two things people know about the show: plane crash and that the
Black Rock destroyed the
Statue,
statue
yeah,
happened in
yeah.
1867.
right,
Yeah.
the ship full of olives. Everyone knows
A
that.
second ship has hit the second tower, second statue. Yeah, so they're like, oh, weird, look at that statue. We cut to
Cut to a hole.
the underground. Locke is in a hole, in a cave.
He stumbles his way to the big wheel underground, which we've seen before.
The frozen wheel
Yeah.
chamber.
I just remember in Ben's episode where he's got to move big wheel. It's like he's doing a sled push.
Yeah.
He's got to put his whole body into it. And Locke just goes up and spins that thing like his Price is Right, just like aiming for $1. He's like, oh, no problem. I'll just move this big wheel. Zap, 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 zap,
To
zap.
be fair, his legs were fresh.
Yeah, yep. And Ben loosened it for him.
Yeah.
And apparently broke it. It's not on its axis. It's like rocking and jammed, and there's like a
Yeah.
light. And so like Locke puts the frozen wheel back into its appropriate place, which ends the record skipping. There's one last big flash, one last big skip, and then it's over.
Yeah, we just really got into it very quickly in like the first minute of this episode. It's like we got a lot of ground to cover. Just okay, we fixed the thing. There, go next.
They flash, they skip. The four up top, James, Jin, Juliet, Miles. They see the well. They're like, oh, the well's back. That must have been where John Locke was. There's a rope. Sawyer insanely jumps into the well, both feet first.
What were you gonna do if like
Land on
If it
Locke.
wa- what if the rope was only 2 feet of rope? What were we gonna do? My guy, what was the plan?
That was buck wild for him to do that. But yeah, the well's full. It's been filled in with bricks and dirt and just fuzz and whatever.
They all realize that Their headaches are gone. Their noses aren't bleeding. Their ears aren't bleeding. They're not having their brains caved in by the weight of being unstuck from time.
They were just ripping through like, my nose isn't bleeding. My vision's fixed. It felt like Spider-Man waking up with his powers for the first time. Like everything is clearing up on them.
Yeah.
One guy's arthritis was gone.
Nice.
This is about the scene where Kai and I, as we were watching this, noticed the fakeness of Sawyer's beard.
Yeah, same.
Some reshoots clearly had to happen. Something happened behind the scenes with this episode.
I mean, with the nature of television scheduling, sometimes you just, you got to do things in a certain order, and sometimes, they're like, we got to do all this Dharmaville stuff first, and then we'll do the jungle stuff at the end of the schedule. I mean, we can just do a fake beard, right?
Yeah.
It'll look fine, right?
Hey, Phil, you know how to do a fake beard, right? And he's, in the corner reading, how to fake beard for dummies. Like, yeah. Me, been doing fake beards for years, yeah.
It'll be real easy.
Actually, I'm really a Merkin guy. A Merkin man.
Oh, God. Julia posits that Locke ended the time skips, and everybody agrees, and then they're like, all right, well, cool, great, that's awesome.
Love that.
Now we're just going to wait for him to come back. And they're like, well, how long are we going to wait for him? Sawyer goes, as long as it takes.
3 years later.
3 years later. That was a pretty good joke. I liked that.
Yeah.
I kind of saw it coming, but I was like, yeah, that's not bad.
I appreciate the full screen title cards to let us know where we are, but also after the first one, I'm like, fuck you.
Right. It's like after the first one, it's like, I think we get it now. But yeah, 3 years later, interior, Dharma Station. I think it's the Flame. There's a gentleman named Jerry dancing with a lady.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just having a good old time. Kevin Rankin, he's a security guard, member of Dharma Security. He's got the badge on his jumpsuit with the star. And yeah, he's down there. This girl has brought him and his partner some brownies. His partner is known Dharma nerd Phil, played by Patrick Fischler. And he's like, we can't have guests. What are you doing? What if something happened? And it's like, nothing ever happens.
Also, they're just dancing. It might lead to something else, but in the immediacy, they're just dancing. It's fine. Yeah, you can watch the TVs and dance.
I suppose.
Specifically, it's a hootenanny gets called out.
Right.
Oh.
Which is a big accusation back then, if I understand correctly.
Right.
Yeah.
By today's standards, it's much more of a hoedown.
Yeah, this would be a hoedown level 1 or 2, but a full hootenanny back then, that would be wild.
Anyways, the alarm starts going off. They're like, oh, what is it? Oh, it's a code 3. Horace is drunk again by the sonic fence, and he's throwing dynamite at trees.
Like, we should really bump that up the list of codes. That should be like a code 1, probably, based on the frequency with which it happens. But yeah, Horace, we've seen Horace in some other Lost on Lost episodes. He's a mathematician, and he's hypothetically sort of the scientific leader of the Dharma Initiative. And yeah, just hammered, just shit-faced.
He puts the stick of dynamite in his mouth.
Like a giant cigar.
Light it. I thought it was a giant cigar, like a comically
100%.
big cartoon cigar.
Initial thought, largest cigar ever is on the security camera.
Yeah.
We need help.
Yeah, it was very silly. But then, he throws it at a tree and it blows up.
Like a little cherry tree sapling, like a George Washington experience.
Yeah.
They're like, well, we should probably go wake up LaFleur. And he's like, I don't think we should. And he's like, we should. And so they go do it. Like, it's another one of these little arguments about it's, it's the boss hammered, blowing stuff up. I think you should get somebody up the chain.
Are we going to deal with this right now? No. Get the boss.
Is this a Jerry and Phil problem? No.
Oh, man, I would love to see a Jerry and Phil mess around episode.
They head over to LaFleur's house and they knock on the door. You hear a voice. What is it? It's Horace. He's out by the sonic fence. He's drunk and blowing.
He's doing it again.
Yeah. It's Horace.
He won't stop doing it.
It's Horace, and it's Wednesday night.
He's taking out the trees.
Yeah, we get the reveal that LaFleur is James Sawyer Ford, and he delivers his classic, son of a bitch. It's Sawyer. Oh my God, LaFleur is Sawyer. Sawyer's LaFleur. LaFleur's Sawyer.
We've seen a lot of season 5.
Yeah, we literally have 4 episodes of season 5 left to watch.
But I could see how if you were a chronological audience, that would break your fucking brain. You'd be like, what the fuck?
Absolutely.
Whereas I'm just really concerned about why the rope was in the ground. I'm like, oh, I know who LaFleur is. Da, 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 da.
Yeah. Lost card comes through, and word continues that night. LaFleur drives over to Miles' house. Miles comes out of his house, calls him Enos, which is a pretty great super dated reference. Actually, at that point, it would have been a super relevant reference because Enos was the deputy from The Dukes of Hazzard, which was a television show from the 70s. So that would actually be like a really on-the-pulse reference for Sawyer, as opposed to a 40-year-old reference like he's used to making in 2004.
It's still a 40-year-old reference. It's just...
for him, yeah, but for everybody else, they'd be like, oh, Enos?
Oh.
Like from Dukes of Hazzard? That's a good one. That's a good one, Jim. Oh, man.
Brian, I know this is probably a really big issue for you, but once again, we've switched why Sawyer's wearing glasses. He keeps wearing them to drive, even though before he needed them to read, and then he takes them off after he's done driving, which makes no sense. The switch from farsighted to nearsighted, it's really immersion breaking, and I'm sorry that you have to deal with sort of this difficult plot hole.
That's actually a hard point for me, and we can talk about it later in a final beat of the episode, how much it bothers me.
They get out to the sonic fence. They find Horace. He's passed out. There's a small fire happening. Jim's like, put out the fire, clean up all this shit, do all the hard work. I'll take Horace home. And Miles is like, why can't I take Horace home and you do all the fucking leg breaking, back breaking work?
Right.
He's like, do you want to tell Amy what happened? And he's like, oh, not even a little. I'll see you later. Picks him up, throws him in the van, drives him back over to his house, talks to Amy. He's like, oh my God, what happened? Found him up by the sonic fence, blowing stuff up. What happened? Well, we had a fight. Wow. What did you guys fight about? Was it, you have 7 other ex-husbands? Like, what huge thing happened that would cause a man to go start just blowing shit up, drunk as hell? A guy who doesn't drink.
Well, now when you say it like that, Adam, it does sound pretty fun.
I mean, no, it sounds incredibly fun. It sounds like a plan that you like in college. This is like a thing that would be like, hey, I got half a milk crate full of firecrackers. You guys want to drink 7 beers and then go over to the park and blow them up?
Oh,
this is a reaction to my girlfriend broke up with me.
Absolutely.
I like to think he has like a Dharma like locker that just has like one side alcohol, one side TNT.
Yeah.
And it's just like the emergency vault.
Yeah.
I'd appreciate if you'd stop hacking into the security cameras I have in my basement. Thanks, Brian.
Amy is very pregnant and
super pregnant.
Goes into pregonate, and she goes into labor.
Fun thing here, my wife is currently expecting a child in real life.
Yeah.
So I thought, oh, of course, great. You've picked a pregnancy episode for me.
Sure.
Thank you so much. That's great.
Yeah.
And I just love having all the fears and tie-ins of pregnancy reflected in my entertainment that I have in my own life. And it's just a really great tie-in. So I just wanted to do a quick thank you there.
Yeah, no problem. Well, and if it would make you feel better, I mean, when the delivery's happening, Adam and I are available to dress up in Dharma jumpsuits and hold guns next to your wife while she's delivering the baby, if that sort of, helps.
That'll be helpful
because
because I will be drunk throwing dynamite at a tree and it's just going to really come full circle. It'll be great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And then the baby will be named Horace, regardless of gender.
That's going to be named after one of us.
3 years earlier.
Son of a bitch.
Juliette and the others find Daniel. He's mumbling to himself in this little spot in the jungle. Apparently Charlotte is gone. Not just gone, but dead. She died, and then her body disappeared with the final time skip? Question mark.
Yeah, well, once you're dead, you're just part of the background.
It'd be awesome if it skipped and it would just be like a skeleton there.
Right, yeah.
Oh, huge miss, honestly.
She stayed in 1867 or earlier, and then, and then just like 100 years went by, and then it's like, oh shit. Yeah, he's just like holding a skull, like.
Oh man, that's actually holy smokes.
Yeah, puts it on a rope and wears it for the rest of the whole show.
Yeah,
you had the chance there. Maybe it's a little patch of flowers or something like that, or like
the human-shaped patch of flowers.
Yeah.
So Sawyer mobilizes the survivors. He's like, let's just go back to the beach. Like, let's go to the beach. That's as good a plan as any. We know we've survived there once. We can rebuild if our shit isn't there. If our shit is there, so much the better. Miles is kind of like, you guys only ever have two ideas: beach, Oregon, beach. And it's like, I mean, you got a point, I guess.
Miles is just the voice of the audience, and I love it.
He doesn't deliver a constructive idea. I'm in the corporate world now. You come with a plan and a alternative rather than just complaints.
Right.
I mean, come on, guys.
No, and that's true. And that is oftentimes Miles's biggest issue. He does complain and point out flaws in the plan, but does not have a solution of his own. That's sort of Miles's deal.
Is that what I've been doing wrong at my job? Shit.
Juliette backs up Sawyer. She's like, yeah, let's go to the beach. Fucking shut up, Miles. So they're heading off. And then Juliette's like, I hope you have a better plan than this. He's like, what are you talking about? You're all on my side. And she's like, a plan is better than no plan. This plan still sucks.
What we're going to do, just sit there and look at Faraday cry? That guy's a nerd.
They hear some gunshots. They raise their weapons, but it dawns on them that they are not being fired at. They're just hearing gunshots in the distance. So they head off in the direction of the gunshots to find out what's happening. And they see over in a clearing a woman being threatened by two men. Miles is like, oh, that's a shame.
Well, not my problem.
Sawyer's like, I'm going to go help. He's like, don't. You're going to fuck some stuff up, right, Dan? And Dan's like, it doesn't matter. Whatever happen.
That is exactly how I said it out loud to just Kai, the TV, and my two cats.
Yeah. But he does have a point. We talked about this a little bit in our most previous episode when Brandon was on about the time looping stuff. You know, we had a pretty, I think, in depth is a good way to describe our conversation about timelines and time travel and how time is kind of like a wave, and if you're on the leading edge of it, the water kind of doesn't matter. But Dan has a point. Whatever happened. So, like, if they are meant to interfere, they will interfere.
Right.
And they do interfere.
That's some great context that I didn't really remember or have. So it was just this crazy guy making, like, fatalist statements that everyone's just like, yeah, okay, he's probably right.
But yeah, so Sawyer and Juliette go over to stop this island mugging, and Sawyer's like, gets a drop on him. It's like, drop your weapon. The guy doesn't comply. He's going to blast him, but then Juliette, split second decision, takes out the first guy. Sawyer gets the second guy.
Blam.
Blam, 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 blam. Go over to the lady. It's like, are you okay? We got to bail. It's Amy. The victim is Amy. And she's near, there's a Dharma corpse nearby. Gentleman named Paul.
What's the scenario here? Like, it looks like they were just having a picnic.
I think that's what it is. I think that
a classic, just a picnic holdup, and if you don't comply, if you don't hand over the sandwiches,
real Yogi Bear situation.
and here's the thing: in a upcoming scene, they go back inside the fence. Paul and Amy are having their picnic outside the fence, which I think may be a violation of the truce. Maybe they're not supposed to be out here.
That's a death sentence.
That's the thing. It's like Amy's like, we gotta bury the bodies. There's a truce. It's like, you were already breaking the truce.
That's nearly a hootenanny, if you ask me.
Look at how beautiful Hawaii is. You could have had a picnic fucking anywhere. Like, you kidding me? Oh,
for real.
Can we go to this nice field just outside of Dharmaville, or should we go on the other side of the sonic fence with hostels and a smoke monster and a truce? Nothing gets me moister than a truce.
Yeah, exactly. She's like, who are you? She doesn't know these people.
Sawyer's beard goes from having just jet black to like salt and pepper now.
Yeah. Juliette figures out that they got to be in the 70s or 80s based on Paul's Dharma jumpsuit. The Dharma initiative was here and active in the 70s and 80s. So yeah, she's like, we got to be in the 70s or 80s. They're like, all right, well, you're okay. We're going to leave now. See you later. She's like, no, you got to help me bury the bodies and get Paul's body out of here because our picnic is a violation of the truce.
It's a huge ask for people without shovels, by the way.
Yeah. You're talking about dead weight. Jin's like, I'll carry him. Yo, that's a grown-ass man. Yeah. You might have to go a couple of miles.
Yeah.
See how heavy that son of a bitch is going to be without taking his innards out?
Sawyer should have been like, yeah, no problem. We'll help you bury the bodies and we'll help you carry Paul back to Dharmaville. It will take us 16 hours because we got to fashion some sort of digging implement and build a stretcher for the body because those two things that you said we have to do in order to not get caught here are gonna take forever.
Also, we find out that it's her husband right then too, right?
Yeah.
She like mentions that, and then so my mind immediately is like, this was a sexy pregnancy-inducing picnic.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why she got pregnant.
Oh.
And then it's a 3-year pregnancy.
I was going to say, and then she carries for 3 years.
And ultimately, that's where all the issues come later in the episode.
Yeah.
Right. Baby's been in there too long.
Yeah.
Yeah, overcooked. You guys don't know this. I'm in the thick of things. This is a common 3-year pregnancy issue.
Yeah.
That's what actually causes psychosis in adults is being in the womb too long.
The third trimester, mester meaning year in Latin.
Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna be like, you can't just bang on the other side of the sonic fence because all the pervs are gonna be watching you with their thousands of security cameras. So they just want a little
Jerry
privacy.
and Phil in the flame, just like jerking it, and like, oh man, look at him. Gross.
There used to be a tree that would block the view of the sex area, but it got blown up.
Yeah. Just a comedy of errors.
Oh no, the fucking tree.
So they bury the bodies and head out. Takes 5 minutes. Amy, they get to the sonic fence. Dan's not really paying attention to what he's doing and almost walks into Juliet's like, stop, Dan! The sonic fence! I mean, that thing.
What? It looks like a sonic fence or something.
Or whatever. Juliet's like, shut it off. Shut what off? That, it looks like some sort of sonic fence maybe. And she's like, who did you say you were again? She's like, shut up. We don't have time. Truce, remember? We're going to get caught. She's like, okay. She goes over there and like boops in the code. And she's like, all right, it's ready to go. It's like, you first. So Amy walks through. Everything's fine. And they're like, all right, cool.
And then they still all go through like Hands Across America at once.
And they get blasted.
Scrambled.
Yep. And they all drop. There's this huge noise. And then Amy watches them all collapse. And then she like digs under her hair and pulls out her earplugs.
That blows my mind that that's all it takes is just like some M3 fucking foam boys just like or sticking your fingers in your just la 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 la.
That's what I would do every time. Yeah, if that's all it took, just do that every time just in case it's not off. What I think happened is maybe she put it on, she opened the panel, took out the earplugs while nobody's looking, put them in, and then just put it to the lowest setting.
Yeah.
Honestly, the only other person we've ever seen go through the fence and suffer negative consequences was Mikhail. And everybody thought that the fence killed him. But it didn't. He survived.
Yeah, because he started like bleeding from everywhere.
Yeah, his ears, and he was like, "Oh God, thank you," and then he collapsed, and everybody thought he was dead. Only it turns out several episodes later he's still alive, only to then kill himself.
My only problem with it is that she had the earplugs in when he asked her to go first. So she should have been like, what? Okay, I go first.
I go fist. She's trying to like read fucking lips.
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble understanding what your mouth is saying behind your horrible fake beard. Amy's pretty canny here. Like, they obviously have some sort of protocol for whatever. She's, despite the fact that she's distraught over the death of Paul, she's still thinking on her feet.
Yeah, she wasn't even like, I ain't even gonna hit him with the 14J. I'm just gonna take care of this myself.
Yep.
Bury my captors. Carry my husband. Get sapped. That's like where she's at.
Sucker.
Hey, Amy might kind of fucking rule.
Oh, Amy's fucking so good. 3 years later, the baby is early. Amy was supposed to get on tomorrow's sub and deliver on the mainland, and this fucking medical student is not equipped to have a baby, do a baby here on the island because he's useless.
We need a drunker, more yelling doctor.
As someone who's creating a birth plan and like getting ready for that moment, the fact you'd put yourself in a scenario where you had to take a submarine to get to the closest doctor 2 weeks out is like kind of crazy to me. But hey, here we are.
That's the thing I was thinking. I was like, if you have women pregnant on the island and this is some sort of scientific commune, why isn't there an OBGYN on the island as part of the Dharma Initiative? Like, why isn't there somebody there? If there are pregnant women on the island, there should be somebody there prepared to deal with an emergency, not this fucking intern.
This was probably the point where Kai just started screaming at the TV because so much of what she has seen of Lost is people saying that you can't have babies on the island, and here's another baby happening on the island. And they do sort of address that.
Yeah, the intern does say, our women always deliver on the mainland.
Sawyer says something like, whatever stops people from having babies, maybe it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
Because it's more the conception, like first term, that people seem to have problems with.
Yeah. It's never honestly really clearly explained.
No, gee whiz. I'm lost? No. Brian, just for my clarity, so does your birthing plan have any submarines? And if so, where is the submarine in the plan?
Yeah, we took a class on accurate times to take the submarine versus not take the submarine. And it's really, you want to be in that sweet month and a half prior to the D-Day, the due date.
Yeah.
Anytime after that, you risk being on an island with just an intern that really is saying not my problem for most things.
Okay. Yeah, no, hey, solid plan.
Or, and they didn't address this in the episode, being on a submarine and giving birth. Like, that's going to change the interior pressure and all that. Like, you got another mouth to feed?
Yeah.
Jeepers.
Is that considered a water birth at that point?
The baby's breech, needs a C-section. Intern can't do C-section. LaFleur's like, I got an idea. I'm in charge. Horace is drunk. I'm in charge now. I'm number 2 in the chain of command. Here I go. He wanders off. It's the morning. So he heads over to the motor pool. And there's somebody underneath a Dharma van just grinding on it with an angle grinder.
God damn. I was already attracted to her. This fulfills a whole bunch of other sort of deep monkey brain needs that I have.
The jumpsuit, the bandana, the dirty face.
Angle grinder, Jesus Christ.
We need Rosie the Riveter to deliver this baby.
Yeah, exactly. She's like, hey, comes over, he pulls her out from underneath the thing. It's Juliette. Amy's about to give birth, and the intern can't do it. You need to do it. And she's like, we agreed. He's like, fuck that.
We had an agreement. I won't deliver any more babies till I have 17 catalytic converters.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, Amy needs a cesarean section, and the only one that knows how to use an angle grinder on the island is you. So she's like, fine, I'll do it for you. Or Amy or whoever.
Get me the 10 millimeter socket wrench.
And Sawyer's like, which one? And he has flashbacks to his childhood and his dad like yelling at him for dropping the flashlight, and it's horrible. Yeah. Cut to the next scene. Sawyer just kind of like pacing outside of the infirmary. Jin pulls up. Now speaking fluent English. Now we've seen our 4-time refugees, and they're all members of the Dharma Initiative.
Really quick though, before that, we have a scene where Juliette is with Amy, and she's like just rattling off. Okay, I need a 14 gauge needle. Yeah. I need a this. I need a that. And the fucking intern's like, does this lady even know what she's doing? It's like, she's rattled off all of the shit you need to do the C-section. Yeah. Shut up, nerd. Yeah. Go get the things.
And then the lady was like, I want her to do it.
Oh, yeah.
I want her to deliver the baby.
She said a bunch of doctor words. Also, you see how hot she is in this jumpsuit.
She smells like grease. She's perfect.
But yeah, so then that happened. Then we cut to the scene. Just like Sawyer doing the classic like dad in the waiting room thing, just like chain smoking cigarettes and like waiting for the announcement. Like, but yeah, Jin pulls up and he's just like, "What's happening?" Amy's having the baby. Juliette's delivering the baby, and Jin's like, "You had an agreement. Don't worry about it. It's fine." So what's going on with your shit? He's like, "Well, we finished grid 133 today. Still no lock." And Sawyer's like, "Well, all right, start 134 tomorrow then." And Jin's like, "How long are we gonna keep doing this?" And Sawyer says, as long as it takes.
I mean, if they're using standard, like, grids, that's, like, 1,000 yards by 1,000 yards. It's not that big of an area. You can just kind of, like, look around and be like, hey,
I mean,
hockey here? No, next one.
I mean, maybe we didn't see a scene where yesterday he was like, yeah, we did 132 today. The day before he was like, we did 131. Like, maybe they're getting a grid a day done. You know.
Yeah, but also, like, you know he's skipping through time. He could be in any grid at any time.
He's not skipping through time. He stopped the time skip, so he's got to be somewhere on the island, right? There's no way that.
But then he's just gonna show up mid-island somewhere.
There's no way that turning the frozen wheel would transport him off the island to possibly the desert in Tunisia.
I don't actually get what they're doing. Are they just like going to those blocks and like looking around, or are they digging into the earth because he's underground last they saw him, right? So they got to be doing a full excavation. They're finding mammoth tusks, and they're looking for John Locke.
I like to think that Sawyer was like, here's the plan to search for Locke, and Jin and Miles are like, that's not going to work. He's probably dead. And then so like they're like, yeah, we got it. And so like every day they just like go off into the jungle and play golf and solitaire. And then they come back and like, yeah, we searched another grid. He's not here.
We got a spades tournament going on.
Juliette comes out. She has successfully delivered the baby. Mom's fine. Baby's fine. Everybody's fine. She nailed it. She crushed it.
We've talked about this before. Elizabeth Mitchell, she's clearly like, we need somebody with some fucking acting chops. And this scene where she comes out and she starts the cry, and you don't realize what the cry is about, and then you realize it's a happy cry, and she transitions into nondescript cry into happy cry perfectly, and just sells the scene. Just, God damn it, she's good.
Yeah, she's really good.
And they need to bring in just like a good doctor because Jack wasn't cutting it, and they need someone who's like actually maybe has a chance to heal someone. My last episode, Jack killed someone, like actively killed them. So this is a nice doctor win for me in the Lost on Lost. So
do you remember who he killed?
Yeah, the guy that like had the impaled piece in him. That was the
Edward Mars.
finger guns guy. Yeah, so doctors have only killed for me in this podcast experience until right now.
Yeah, Lost on Lost experience. Yeah. Doctors are out here doing harm.
It's like the third episode of the show.
We cut back to 74 without a card.
Thank Christ.
Which shows that it can be done.
I was completely lost at this point. I was reliant on the cards, and now it has ruined me.
Yeah. Horace is questioning Sawyer. Comes in, he's like, all right, well, here's the deal. What's your deal? He's like, where are my people? He's like, we have them elsewhere. They're fine. They said to talk to you. They were like, he'll come up with why we're here.
He's full of shit.
Yeah. He's like, all right, well, here's the scoop. Do you remember Oh, you don't remember because this hasn't happened yet. There's a research vessel that will crash on the reef and shipwreck some people. We're going to steal their story, and that's what we did.
Yeah.
We were on a ship, and we crashed into a reef, or a salvage vessel. We're looking for the Black Rock. Maybe you've heard of it. My name is Jim LaFleur, boat captain.
Cram it up your cram hole, LaFleur.
Yeah, exactly. When Sawyer, like, mid-conversation here, like, stands up to get the glass of milk, he is so much taller than Horace, and I was like, just pound this fucking nerd,
right,
man.
Yeah. It's like,
I was thinking the same thing.
How'd you get on the island? It's kind of like this. Bam! Yeah, he just makes up a story. It's as viable as anything else. Why were you wandering around the jungle? We were looking for our missing crew members. So, now that you know that we're not members of the hostiles, cut us loose. So, yeah, whatever. It kind of doesn't matter what your story is. We're sending you out in tomorrow's sub. You're not allowed to stay here. Only members of the Dharma Initiative can stay on the island.
Probably should give him a heads up. There's going to be a pregnant woman on there. It's going to be my wife. There might be an emergency birth.
He gives him this little dig. Don't take this the wrong way, but I don't think you're really Dharma material.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rude.
What does that even mean?
Cool. Does that because I'm not Dharma material because I have sex? Like,
oh my god.
Like,
fuck you. I'm gonna Dharma so hard now.
I don't collect fucking Pokemon cards and fucking like I'm actually a cool dude. Is that why I'm not Dharma material? You fucking dork.
We just confirmed that he is like physically way larger than this dude, and he's like, yeah, you're just kind of trash. Yeah. Okay, you're trash.
You can't bring it. And that's the problem.
That's when he should have hit him with like, our ship Bophades crashed. The what? Bophades nuts.
We cut to outside. Dan, Juliette, Miles, Jin are sitting around a table, just relaxing, and they're like, all right, well, what's going on? It's like, well, the record's spinning again. Dan says the record's spinning again. We're just not on the song we want to be on. So like, Locke. His thing worked, but there was no way to control where they would end up in their time-skipping voyage. And so instead of being returned to 2004, they have stopped 30 years short in 1974.
Hey, guys, we haven't done this segment in a very long time, but welcome back to JP Talks About Cinematography.
Oh, hell yeah.
I adored the way this scene was shot. I'm not crazy about the 360 camera spinning around thing. It's fine. It was done a little fast and clearly having problems pulling focus.
It's a little bit on the nose, too, when they're talking about spinning on a record.
Yeah. But the way it's lit, you're allowing your subjects to, we know who they are. They're not going anywhere. There's no action that we need to track. They're highly in this, top-down, real contrasty, deep eyeshadow style lighting. Guest and friend of the show, Brent and Tom and I were talking yesterday about why modern movies suck. And it's because our cameras have too much dynamic range and we're not making lighting decisions while we're shooting things. Sure. And we're like, the computer boys will fix it in post.
Yeah.
But this scene looks incredible.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking the whole time. Like sitting there listening, like I kind of already like absorbed what they were talking about, but I was sitting there, I was like, this looks phenomenal. They're not necessarily compared to like other stuff, but like it's just like so often when watching just like a generic broadcast TV show, you get used to it just looking the way broadcast looks.
Pretty flat and boring. Yeah.
And it's always fun when something jumps out and something special. And that's what I thought this scene was like. Because like then when Sawyer and Horace come in just from out of the darkness, and it's like you can see just like the field behind them, the dark field behind them, but it's like got a little bit of night light and stuff like that. I was for the first time buying outdoor nighttime lighting on Lost for like the first time in a long time.
Mark Goldman, who directed this episode, is an editor, and I think this is the only episode that he directed.
Fucking
very interesting.
Knows what he's up to. So yeah, Dan, while he's sort of mumbling to himself, he sees a little redheaded girl walk by.
I hate this subplot.
Yeah.
We dealt with this a few episodes ago. Yeah. Don't like it. Feels creepy.
It's weird.
Claiming the defense, whatever happened.
Oh, no.
It's, what's Horace's name in real life?
Doug Hutchison, a 51-year-old man who married a 17-year-old girl. Yeah. Gross.
Yeah, it's that same thing, and it's bad.
Yeah, it's bad, and it's bad. Horace brings Sawyer. He's like, all right, everything's chill. We'll have somebody take you guys to your room. But yeah, you'll be heading out tomorrow morning. Thanks for stopping by. If you have any questions or comments about the Dharma Initiative, please fill out the comment cards, and yeah, we'll see you never.
It's like, yeah, we'll do you guys a solid. Thanks for saving Amy, but you gotta go.
You cannot stay. An alarm goes off.
Meow.
Phil arrives to take everybody inside. They go into, I think it's Rachel's house. And this was a bit of trivia. She's got the Mini 14.
Yeah.
Which in 1974 would have been a relatively hard gun to get their hands on.
Yeah.
Apparently it came out in 1974.
I appreciated that they had World War II era weapons when they showed up.
Yeah.
They had a carbine and a Garand.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, those would have been appropriate for the time.
Yeah,
so thank God you time travel with those and not Kimi's gun.
Yeah, it's the fall and the fucking
fucking grenade launchers and shit.
Man, how come somebody wasn't just walking around with a rocket launcher? Like,
yeah, right.
Yeah, everybody goes inside. They're like hunkering down. You see a lone figure walking through the darkness.
They let the torch like appear from the wood line in the wide shot. I really like that.
That was cool. It's Richard.
Richard?
And everyone's a little afraid of him. And I don't remember anything about Richard. Yeah. So I just think this is a super well-dressed man, and they're just afraid of well-dressed men in general.
He does have a sort of sickening amount of drip for a man who lives in the jungle.
Yeah, I thought the hostels were supposed to be disheveled. So I was like, why is Richard dressed nice in this? Shouldn't he be all raggedy?
He's got like a nice pair of like J. Crew slacks and like a...
Yeah, it's freshly ironed and stuff. Yeah. You're like, wow, he really dressed up for this moment.
And maybe he's thinking, he's like, well, okay, two of our guys are missing. I got to go have a meeting with Horace. Get out my meeting shirt. Put away my ragged vest and my hostel's linen capris and all that.
My Saturday morning bowling shirt.
Commercial, and then we're still on the scene. Horace and Richard come together in the clearing in Dharmaville there. They have a discussion. Hello, Mr. Goodspeed. Hello, Mr. Alpert. Hey, two of my dudes are missing. That's fucked up. Why are you telling me about that?
He's also like, well, if I'd have known you were coming, I'd have turned off the fence. And Richard's like, I got earplugs. Don't worry about it. Like the fence doesn't stop us.
Yeah, he literally says the fence doesn't work on us. And it's like, that's the only people the fence had to keep out. And you've failed. You put in like this $2 billion fence to do sonic like removal, and it doesn't work.
Turns out building a $1 billion regular fence would have saved you some money and maybe worked.
I wish it would have cut to him with his fingers in his ears going past the fence.
Yeah.
Just like walking through that doesn't work on us.
Like an Edgar Wright cutaway. We would turn off the fence. Oh, don't worry. It doesn't. The fence doesn't stop us, and it's him going, ah!
We have technology to surpass the fence.
Wait, no, they don't realize that it doesn't work. So we cut to them to the fence, and it's all the hostels, and they're building like this big like bridge out of 4 ladders. They're like, so they go up 20 feet, then they build a plank, and then they're like, all right, we're over the sonic fence, and then somebody trips and falls through it, and be like, oh, it doesn't hurt us.
It's one of those summer camp team building exercises where you got like 3 planks of wood and you got like
Exactly. Like a ropes course. Like, and now you have to work together to get everybody across.
Anyways.
Yeah, so Richard's like, 2 of my guys are missing, and that's a violation of the truce. And he's like, we didn't violate the truce. And they argue, whatever. People watch them talk from the house. Sawyer and them, they all recognize Richard because they know Richard. So Horace returns, and he's like, I think Richard figured out that those dudes are missing. How well did you hide their bodies? And Sawyer's like, we covered them up with grass. We didn't have shovels. We didn't bury the bodies. Like,
right.
Yeah.
None of their hands are dirty. No shovels. It took 3 minutes flat. Like those bodies are essentially like just under one rock.
Yeah.
We covered one body with the other body and called that one good. And then
So he's not going to find one of them. He will definitely find the other one. LaFleur's like, let me talk to him. It was us. We're the ones who did it. Let me smooth things out. And Horace is like, I can't let you do that. And he's like, you can't stop me from doing anything, nerd.
I am so much bigger than you. Like,
So yeah, heads out.
I do appreciate this is like, this is Sawyer leaning into the con man bit.
Yeah.
Like,
No, this is great.
twice in this episode, he's like, I'll figure it out. I just fucking do it.
Yeah, because Juliet's like, do you have a plan? He's like, I'll figure it out. And it's like, in the 40 seconds it's going to take to walk from here to there. All right. Sawyer's a genius. He gets out to the bench, and he's just like, hello, Richard. And he's like, do I know you? It's like, no, not yet.
Do I know that fake beard?
He's like, I'm the one who killed you guys. Self-defense. They were going to kill Amy. There's a lot of he said, she said regarding this truce violation. So, let's not worry about that. Here's the thing. I'm not part of the Dharma Initiative. You got to be. The only 2 people are my people in the Dharma Initiative. He's like, did you bury it?
What?
Did you bury Jughead?
Dude, listen, there's not a lot of times where Sawyer gets to have the true intellectual upper hand, and he's getting it on Richard, and I'm like, this scene fucking rips.
Yeah.
Like, Richard's completely caught off guard. He's like, what? First of all, you called me by my first name. Fuck you. Second of all, how do you know all this shit?
Yeah. Bald man named John Locke said he was your leader, and then he disappeared in front of you. And but before that, he told you to bury a hydrogen bomb called Jughead. I know all this, so obviously I'm not part of the damn Dharma Initiative.
I'm something else.
Yeah, something better.
The truce doesn't apply to him. The truce of don't go outside the gates or we will shoot you and it's fine, but if you shoot us, it's not kosher.
Yeah, I can fuck wherever I want.
Don't have that sex picnic.
First thing they teach you in hockey, the second guy's always gonna take the punishment. Sawyer comes back to the house. LaFleur comes back to the house. And he's like, all right, everything's cool. I explained it to him, but he said that they need some sort of justice. And in order to hold the truce, we got to give him Paul's body. I don't know why that's going to give justice to the hostiles, but whatever.
They love bodies. They crave bodies.
Horace takes LaFleur over to Amy's house. Horace says, hey, we're friends. We've known each other a long time. This is totally up to you. If you say you don't want to do it, if you don't say that you don't want to give Paul his body over to them, we'll stand by you and we'll suffer the consequences together.
That's some pretty strong implied where we will suffer the consequences.
Right, yeah.
If you just want to sit here and stare at his dead body.
Yeah. It was a very coded way of saying, like, we're all going to die if you don't do this. So I really hope you chose to do this.
Yeah. If you really want to bury him under the swing set.
She acquiesces. She's like, you know what? Paul would, if he were alive, he would want to protect us. So, yeah, there we go. She takes Paul's necklace off, which is a wooden ankh.
I did a little research on these wooden ankhs, like the necklace ones, and it's like a little talisman to help guide your soul into the afterlife.
Okay.
If you're wearing it when you die. And you continue it with the body. So she hated her husband. That's really what I'm getting at. To remove that.
Maybe she was hoping he would come back like a ghost from that movie Ghost, and they could still fool around.
Hey, Brian, in your Wikipedia search, I wear a talisman that's got a hammerhead shark having sex with a mermaid. Does that mean anything?
Unfortunately, that means you're going to have birth on a submarine.
Son of a bitch.
Mm-hmm. It's a direct correlation.
Yeah. You got to name your baby Jughead.
You're going to spend the afterlife in Joe's Crab Shack.
Listen, I love seafood.
Another instance of one person being like, I will drag this one man's corpse around very safely by myself.
Hey, I'll give you a hand. No, I got it. Horace, you're not a big man.
Known whittle guy, Horace.
He's not whittle. He's like 5'9".
He's Dharma material, guys. Come on.
What's that jumpsuit made out of? Dharma material. So yeah, they hand off the body, and then Horace is like, "Hey man, appreciate you doing us a solid. There's gonna be another sub in 2 weeks. There's a sub every 2 weeks. It's kind of like a bus. You can stay for 2 weeks, look for your people, and then in 2 weeks you can bail. You know, I'll do that for you, even though the Dharma Initiative isn't allowing people to stay. I have the authority. Turns out that most of the rules I'm just in charge of how they're enforced, and so I can kind of do whatever I want. I am drunk with power and Merlot.
Well, and I love it's all implied from here. Like I don't know if we ever see the scene. I hope we don't, where they're like, you know what? Over the last 2 weeks, things have been great. And you know, it's like, we get it.
Yeah.
Sawyer figured out. I mean, they're all very capable people. Figured out how to con their way in, convince them that they are Dharma people, and he just rose his way through the ranks.
Yeah, exactly. In the course of 3 years, probably did a 2-week renewal period every 2 weeks for a couple of months, and they were like, you know what? We actually think this is pretty chill. We'd like to join the Dharma Initiative. We all have skills, bam.
Yeah.
Horace it seems like he's pretty easygoing guy, pretty easy to talk into stuff. You know, if you give rational explanation, Horace does seem like a relatively intelligent individual.
And you know it's the 1970s because Sawyer made it to a leader with no education, and Juliette got stuck as a mechanic with surgical skills.
Exactly.
She can handle my wrench any days. Anyways.
Lordy. We have a little scene out here at the subdock. Juliette is like, Sawyer, look, I've been here for 3 years, and I've wanted to leave for like 2.9 years. I'm leaving. This is like, if you want to stay and look for Locke, that's good. That's cool. I hope you find him.
Gotta get out of here.
But I'm done with this fucking place. And he's like, well, all right, but like, who's gonna have my bag?
Yeah, you're gonna leave me here with all these fucking nerds and gin?
He's like, it's 1970. It's not gonna be like you think out there. There's not Dippin' Dots yet.
What's Brian always thinking about when time travel is in play?
Are we in Dipping Dots era yet?
How quickly could I get my hands on the cool, refreshing taste of Dippin' Dots?
It is the ice cream of the future, and they're stuck in the past.
Yeah, hey, no notes, my dude.
Yeah. He's like, give me 2 weeks, and she's like, all right, fine. I'll give you 2 weeks. Cut to 77. Jim's walking home from work. He's not in the jumpsuit, and he's in his civvies. Decides to stop and grab a flower for his beautiful lady. Comes into the thing. Something smells good. She stayed. We already knew that because of the earlier 77 scenes where she was still here. But it's sweet because she's making lunch, dinner, whatever. He gives her this one yellow flower. They embrace, and she says, "Thank you for believing in me."
Something was cut here. I don't know if you noticed the edit and like her reaction and his reaction. There was a line of dialogue that got cut there. I don't know what it is, but she's like smiling like he makes some dumb joke, and they cut it to where he's just standing there with the flower instead.
Yeah.
All right.
Maybe to show some more growth on his part, but something very much got cut, or the direction was like intended to be edited some other way.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
So, confession.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just did another search on LaFleur. You were right originally on the flower. I misspelled floor. And
so it wasn't just ChatGPT giving you wrong information. You misspelled.
Yeah.
Okay.
So ultimately, the flower now makes a lot of sense, right? The flower, he hands her the flower. It's, a metaphor for their whole relationship that they build in this episode over 3 years.
Yeah.
I thought it was a metaphor for pussy.
It can be both.
Let me do some more Googling.
Flower, question mark.
Google le pussy.
Le pussy. They embrace. Yeah, they've gotten together. The Sawyer and Juliette are, Jim and Juliette are the power couple in the Dharma Initiative, head of security and mechanic at the motor pool. Name a more iconic duo.
I just love them so much.
One of those like classic romances that will stand the test of time and a foundation built on solid granite. It's that sort of romance that everyone aspires to, that still believes in like the concept of like capital R romantic love. It's beautiful. It was like I was borderline in tears. It was gorgeous.
Yeah. The Surgeon and the Con Artist is a Disney movie waiting at.
That night, Horace
he's back to using the glasses for reading. What does he need the glasses for?
Well, we actually hear horrible snoring with him like reading or just sitting with his glasses on. And because of the cut, you think it's Juliette with like a deviated septum just tearing it up without a CPAP machine.
Yeah.
Sorry, honey, they haven't invented CPAP machines yet.
The snoring's Horace. He's finishing sleeping it off. He kind of snaps out of it. Yeah, it's like, what's up? How's your head? It hurts. Mirroring their conversation that they had 3 years ago when Sawyer woke up from getting blasted from the sonic fence. How's your head? It hurts. Cool. He's like, man, I feel like shit. He gives him a glass of water. He's like, all right, well, so yeah, what the fuck, man? What happened? I'm the head of security. How'd you get your hands on dynamite? And why were you dynamiting everything?
I went to the Jim Beam and dynamite cabinet, you idiot.
It's like, that's supposed to be locked. It wasn't. You're a shitty head of security. It's because I wasn't done using the Jim Beam dynamite. That's why I left it open. Horace says, it's one of these innocuous little things that happens. I was out of socks, so I went into Amy's drawer for a pair of socks, and I found at the back of her drawer Paul's necklace.
And that caused a big fight? Like, she's allowed to have one memento from her dead husband, dude. Like,
I'm going to blow up every tree on this island. How dare you? How dare you remember that dead husband?
Did you fuck at this tree? Blam! Did you fuck at this tree? Blam!
I think Horace realizes how irrational his reaction was, because he says, "What?" He's like, "Is 3 years long enough to get over somebody? Like, is she still hung up on him?" And he realizes that he shouldn't have flown off the handle, but he still is. He has a question, and it's a real human question. Amy and Paul were probably friends of his before Paul's death, and Amy, he says when Paul died, like, we've been friends for a long time, and then 3 years go by, and then they get together, and so now he's married to Paul's widow, and they're going to have a baby together. And then, despite all of that, I think, he's just worried that she might still be, whatever. And so Horace and Jim have this conversation about, like, how long does it take to get over somebody? And Sawyer, Jim, James, whatever, tells him a little story about a girl he used to know. In the 3 years since he's last seen her, time has gone by, and he can't even hardly remember what she looks like anymore.
I can't remember how bad she smelled.
So yeah, 3 years is plenty of time to get over somebody, especially if you have somebody arguably better, definitely hotter, to replace that. It's
smarter, funnier, more charming,
more capable, better skills, like
better companion,
doesn't smell,
angle grinder.
Yeah, 3 years is plenty of time to get over somebody. The next morning, Juliette and Jim are having a little cuddle. Phone rings. Sawyer picks it up. Huh? What? Jin's on the other end, like, hey, man. And he's like, what? No, don't bring him here. Just meet me in the North Valley. You know that valley that's right by the coast? Let's go. Yeah. Gets dressed. Where are you going? That was Jin. I got some Dharma shit to do. Don't worry about it, babe. Stay there. Continue to look sexy. I'll be right back. Gets his suit on. Gets his glasses. Gets the keys.
Driving glasses.
Maybe they're two different pairs of glasses, just have the same frames.
So he just needs glasses for both near and far. So he should just be wearing glasses all the time. Yeah. Right now he needs them for reading and driving.
Yeah.
And nothing in between.
No. He drives the Jeep over to the North Valley, which is, like I said, right by the coast. A Dharma van pulls up. Yeah, there's a slow sort of reveal. Jack comes out. He's wearing a suit that's not from the 70s. Hurley's there, Jin, and then fucking Kate is there too.
Looking like a shoe.
Important to know, Sawyer takes his glasses down Jurassic Park style.
Yeah.
Like, based on what we know about the glasses means he can't see any of them then. And he's trying to keep in the forgot about her state. And I think it's really honorable that he would... He knows Kate's coming out of there, so let's make her completely fuzzy. Take the glasses off.
Oh, she looks like Sasquatch now. She smells like one too.
And that's the reuniting of the Ajira survivors with the
LaFleur.
With the 318 survivors, the time skippers.
The person you just said 3 years was enough to get over with.
Yeah,
that's who showed up.
Yeah. Yeah. Turns out I'm not actually over her. I just can't do anything about it, so I've accepted that.
Yeah. Adam.
Yeah.
Is it about 41 minutes and 30 seconds is our T2J?
Oh, yeah. However long the episode is minus 8 seconds, that is our T2J. That's LaFleur. Nicely done.
That's LaFleur. Wow. This was, well, let's get into it.
Yeah.
So at the beginning of the end here, we like to ask the question, did we like it? Was it good? How did we feel about this 40-odd minutes of television? Brian, start us off. How did you feel about LaFleur?
Yeah, very different episode than the Tabula Rasa, like I was saying. It kind of threw me into the mix, but then it did a decent job of like kind of stabilizing the storyline from where we started, which was like people having nosebleeds and time jumping, which is a hard thing to stabilize it. And yeah, I think I enjoyed it because it had this weird like story within a story going on of like Sawyer's transition to LaFleur and the life of LaFleur. And yeah, I like that it was how they established the Juliette Sawyer thing going on, because it made it have depth without needing to invest too much.
Yeah, that's not bad. JP, what do you think? What do you think about LaFleur?
I really liked this episode. Even though we were jumping around time, we stuck with the same group of characters. There's some back and forth, but I think it sort of enhances both stories by intercutting them. I think it was done really well. The Richard and Sawyer scene was great. Everything with Juliette and Sawyer in both timelines was great. I really, really enjoyed this episode, basically until Kate showed up. So, yeah, really, really liked LaFleur.
Cool.
Adam?
Yeah. Don't really have anything to add beyond what the two of you guys said. I loved that it was just its own little story. It was like from beginning to end. You cut the first couple of minutes off and the last couple of minutes off. It's just it's the story of how Sawyer became LaFleur and how he and Juliette managed to build a relationship. And they did it, they kind of speed runned it, but like you believe it. Like Sawyer cares about his group and he believes in Juliette. And that belief in Juliette was built over the 3 years that we didn't focus on, that we jumped from the beginning to the end. But like Sawyer managed to somehow become the kind of guy that will have a relationship. Yeah. And probably a fairly healthy one. Now, granted, he's being aided by the fact that his biggest temptation has been physically removed from him. But still, Kate and Jack and Hurley never came back. Juliette and Jim would have lived happily ever after.
And even circumstances being different, if they didn't have to blow up the bomb and things would have ended differently for Juliette, or, if she would have survived that whole thing, I still think that Sawyer would have picked Juliette regardless.
Yeah, I think so too. I think he's faced with the reality that Kate is still alive and still around, but like Juliette was still the one that he wanted at the end of it. Yeah,
knows how to work an angle grinder.
All right, so we liked it across the board. Very good. Good episode of Lost. So let's hand out some awards, shall we?
Let's do it.
Awesome. The Lost MVP. Here's a great episode, but so we get to hand out some great awards to some great folks. Who's your MVP? Who's your favorite? Who or what did you enjoy the most out of this episode? Brian, start us off.
I was kind of debating between Sawyer and Juliette for this one. I think I'm gonna go with Juliette. She very well could have got on that submarine and left and lived out a life, but she instead saw something in Sawyer, even from the before they go and time travel. Like, she had his back. She's building that relationship and ultimately kind of the spark of why it keeps moving forward. And she wants this, and she goes through it, and she delivers a baby successfully in the episode, which is a huge win. Alone with an intern, which is wild. And it sounded like there was complications, and she did a C-section alone. There's so much win there, and I think her acting in particular, the actress that plays her, did some real subtle, awesome things.
So good.
That killed it for me.
Yeah, great pick, Juliette. JP.
This is actually a really tough one too, for very similar reasons. I'm gonna give it to Sawyer because Julia has the whole redemption arc with being able to do the baby thing and just that's all awesome. Sawyer, just a couple episodes, he was just running around the jungle shirtless, just screaming and being angry. And here we really see him start to transition into back half of the show, Sawyer. He's like, I'm going to figure this out. I'm in charge. These people are my responsibility. I need to make this work. I'm not out for me anymore. I'm out for us.
Right. Actually, and his transition from a real devil may care guy to a guy who puts thought and planning into his actions.
In my episode 3 last that I did this, he said the comment where like, we're in the wilds, baby.
Yeah.
That was like his like tagline from that episode.
Yep.
And now he's not. He's assumed the level of middle management.
And maybe the fifth name is now fitting. He's kind of a different character.
Yeah.
He's not Sawyer anymore. He's LaFleur.
Well, I think that's 100% accurate in the same way that Ben's version of Henry Gale is a different person than Ben Linus. Yeah. Jim LaFleur is an entirely different guy from Sawyer.
Yeah.
And Sawyer is a different guy from James Ford.
Yeah, great episode. Honorable mention to Amy. For a side character, she did no wrong. She made good decisions all over the place, so good for Amy.
Yeah, nice.
Adam.
Amy.
Hey.
Juliette and Sawyer obviously doing great work throughout the episode. But yeah, Amy, cool under pressure, responding to the death of her loved one. She's gonna process her grief. She's gonna find a way to get on with her life. She's gonna find a way to continue to help the community and help Horace and all that. And thinking about the greater good. She has a baby.
She's listening to the woman in STEM.
Yep. She trusts expertise when somebody comes in and sounds like they know what they're talking about. She believes that they know what they're talking about. Yeah. Amy fucking killed.
Love it, dude. Amy's great.
Good choice.
We're probably never gonna see her again.
Well, I think we've already seen her other appearance.
Oh no.
Because she's a namaste. She's recovering from the baby.
Oh yeah.
That's sort of Amy's one strike, is that she is in fact Ethan's mother. So that's a bit of a bummer.
Oh no.
If I remembered who Ethan was, this would be really heavy right now.
He's an eldritch horror.
Yeah. Good old
he's Tom Cruise's cousin.
William Matherper playing Ethan Goodspeed. Yeah, Horace, his father, Horace Goodspeed, Ethan Goodspeed, Amy Goodspeed.
Man, what the fuck? All right, well, nature versus nurture, I guess. Speaking of weird shit, we still got to hand out one more award here.
Yeah.
We got to do the Lost Forever. King Suck a Shit Mountain.
Mm-hmm.
Who's out here fucking up? Who didn't we like? Who's going to be the last place in this race of mostly goodness in this episode? So, Brian, start us off with your Lost Forever.
Yeah, I'm going to pick the obvious target here. Horace is a sack of drunken, tree-blowing up, wild insecurity.
Yeah.
Like, from the moment we first see him, he's the true hootenanny of this episode.
Absolutely.
And he is lighting the TNT in his mouth. He's drunk.
That part was pretty cool.
We find out that the reason he's blowing up trees is because he got in a fight with his pregnant wife, which is already not advisable.
Yeah.
And it's over the fact that she had a memento hidden away in a sock drawer of her dead husband from only 3 years ago.
Yeah, not even her ex-husband who's still alive. Her dead husband.
Right.
Right.
You're not allowed to have anything from that dead husband. How dare you?
Yeah.
Don't even think about him. Don't look at him. I don't want to smell him anywhere in the house.
Yeah.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yep.
And frankly, he is barely running the place.
Yeah.
And ultimately a huge loser at the end of the day. So, insecure man, known small person. There he is.
Yeah.
He's not small. He's 5'9".
Factual widow guy. 5'9". Only 5'9". The shortest human ever. The shortest man alive.
God damn it.
Little man.
JP.
Literally, I had my reasons and for Horace, and Brian just listed them all. No notes. Honorable mention, Kate. But
sure.
I have nothing to add. Brian, you got it exactly perfect. There you go. Adam.
Everything you guys said about Horace is entirely accurate, which is why he gets an honorable mention from me.
Sure.
But I am saddling my loss forever with the fucking intern.
Oh, good choice.
Yeah, forgot about that piece of shit.
Fucking useless fucking guy. Fully prepared to be like, well, I don't know, we can't do anything about it, so I guess you're just gonna fucking die. The president of the Dharma Initiative's wife and unborn son, they're just gonna die because I suck at my job.
Do you want to listen to me, an unqualified white man, or this Qualified lady doctor.
Yeah, the intern.
He's literally the only medical authority on the island, and Sawyer's like, what do we do? What do we do to save her? And he's like, I don't know. Not my problem. It's 100% your problem.
Should have thought about that before you were busting nuts in your old lady.
Why do you think I'm out here passing out condoms all the time? Because I don't know how to deal with babies.
And then ultimately, like, Juliette comes in to save the day, and he's like, her? Really?
Rosie the Riveter? Unreal. Yeah. Pretty dumb intern. You stink. But yeah, Horace, all of that. Despite the fact that, like I said, I do think that he did, in his anxiety, realize how inappropriate he had been. I mean, he still did it. And so, like, dude, chill.
Yeah. Relax.
Nice.
Holy smokes.
That's it. Brian, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy prenatal schedule to talk some Lost with us. Absolute pleasure to have you back on the show. Missed you so much.
Absolutely.
I just re-listened to Tabula Rasa the other night. Man, that was a crack up, and so that made me look forward to this just all the more.
Excellent.
Do you have anything you want to plug?
Oh, yes, I do. I only have one thing going on in my life right now, and that is my child is going to be born at the end of May. And much like Horace, in a drunken stupor, we can all realize that it's going to be a boy.
Oh!
Hey!
So get your tickets now from all of your typical sites for whatever you might have tickets for. And we're really looking forward to it. And next new big human dropping.
Yeah.
End of May.
Can't wait.
We'll dedicate this episode to your baby.
Yep. Baby.
Thank you.
Baby. Jdam P. Horace Markovich.
Yes. Thank you.
On the way, dropping May 2025.
If you want to, support us with money on coffee, we will send Brian and Lydia a real mammoth tusk for the baby. So
that'd be really great. Those teeth need it.
Yeah,
they crave more teeth. Oh man, Adam, what are we watching next time?
Excellent question. If you want to be lost with us, come on back in a couple of weeks. We're going to be talking about season 6, episode 11. Happily Ever After. Centric character, Desmond Hume.
Oh, my, what a treat.
So I'm sure everything will be fine.
Yeah.
With a title like Happily Ever After and a character like Desmond,
what could go wrong?
It's probably just going to be a cute little love story just like LaFleur was.
Yeah, holy shit. Who's joining us for that one?
On the schedule, making his second appearance, Alex Tucci is coming back to talk Happily Ever After with us. So
watch out, Mark.
Mark that in your calendar. Come on back to Lost on Lost. But in the meantime, thank you again, Brian, so much for taking the time.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. I'll be on anytime you want.
Sounds
awesome.
Good. Thank you, JP, for your continued efforts, both on and off the microphone.
My efforts off the microphone are minimal. You can ask my boss. Thank you, Adam, and thank you out there on the internet for tuning into another episode of Lost on Lost.
Yep, I'm Adam.
I'm JP.
Do you have any idea what is going on this show?
No.
Me neither. Lost on Lost is produced and edited by me and JP.
We wish to acknowledge that we live, work, and produce our show on occupied land.
Burbank, California is located on the traditional tribal lands of the Tongva, Chumash, Kizh, and Fernandino Tataviam peoples.
Milwaukee, Wisconsin is located on the traditional tribal lands of the Peoria, Potawatomi, Miama, and Ho-Chunk peoples.
And Lost was produced in Hawaii on the lands of the Kanaka Maoli.
Visit native-land.ca to learn more about the land you live and work on.
You can engage with us on IG, Facebook, and Twitter at Lost on Lost 1.
You can also email us at wearelostonlost@gmail.com or support us with dollar monies at coffee.com/wearelostonlost.
Thanks to Lostpedia and its community of contributors, Danny Schmitz, random.org, and as always, you the listeners for tuning in.
We're hosted at Podbean. You can hear us there or wherever you get your podcasts, except MySpace. We're not on MySpace.
Yet.